Okay, everybody, welcome to our second lecture in New Testament Greek. And we have a lot to do this lecture. We are going to cover chapters 6 and 7 in Bill Mounce's textbook, Basics of Biblical Greek Grammar. We're using the fourth edition. So here's what I want to say before we get into this lesson. This is going to be a tough lesson because it's going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose in a real way. I'm going to cover some initial information that's going to help you understand nominative and accusative case and the definite article. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about in the beginning is not as important as the stuff we get to later, where we show you the actual case endings of nominative and accusative in the definite article. But this initial information is important so that you kind of get your head wrapped around the why behind the what. So we're going to cover in chapter 6, nominative and accusative and the definite article. And then in chapter 7, we're going to cover the dative and the genitive case. And if you haven't read ahead, which you should be reading ahead, but if you haven't read ahead and you don't know what that means, that's our goal tonight to make sure you know that. So we're going to be introducing some terms. The primary term, one of the primary terms we're introducing is the word declension. That's just a really fancy word that we're going to use a lot to talk about word patterns, or word patterns that impact how you are going to translate the different words and their meaning. When I mean meaning, I don't mean their basic meaning. I mean, like if you think about an English word, if you think about ball, think about just the word ball. You might um, ball might be the subject. Ball might be, the direct object. I hit the ball. It might be an indirect object. I went to the ball. Like it's so in Greek, there are different endings on the word that will clue you into how to translate it in those terms. But the essential meaning of ball doesn't change. So what we're going to do is in the nominative and accusative, and then also in the definite article, we're going to see that when you add a suffix or a prefix, now we're only dealing with suffixes right now. So these are letters added to the end of a Greek stem. And I'm going to explain what stem is in just a minute. But we understand those declensions and how to translate those words in the sentence based on the suffixes that have been added to the stem. So, for instance, if you see here the word apostolos, you're going to learn in a few minutes that when you see the word apostolos in a sentence, that's most likely, in almost all cases, the subject of a sentence. And in the same way, if you see the word apostolon, see the new on the end, then you're going to know that that goes with the verb. It's a direct object. So in Greek, we've talked about this before, you're not as concerned with word order as much as you are rightly translating the word according to the case. And so this is just something that you're going to have to memorize. You're going to memorize it by writing it over and over. You're going to memorize it by putting it on flashcards. You're going to memorize it by saying it. But that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about learning these cases of nouns. And the four cases that we're learning tonight are the four primary cases of all nouns. And once you get through this lecture tonight, once you master the information in this lecture tonight, you're going to, for the most part, have nouns. Like nouns are going to be a like easy peasy from here on out. There'll be some changes, but for the most part, you'll have it. So you can see these words again, apostolos and apostolon. And if you remember the definition for apostolos, that is an apostle. But obviously, apostolon um, would not be an apostle. It would be translated differently because it would be in a different case, the accusative case, which we're going to talk about. So the stem of a Greek word, a Greek noun rather, for instance, the stem of apostolos is apostolo or apostola, really. That sigma on the end is what clues you in to what case it is, which is a nominative case. So you have gender, right? Words are masculine, feminine, or neuter. That doesn't change as the case changes. And then you have number. We're going to talk about number in just a minute, but those suffixes are going to tell you the case, and it's going to tell you the number. And in many cases, it's going to tell you whether it's masculine, feminine, or neuter. So when you are looking at a word in a sentence and you see the word apostolos, you're going to learn to do it faster and faster. But as you see these words, you're going to go through this progression of thought that in the beginning is really clumsy, but 2 weeks from now, it won't be clumsy. You'll just be doing it and you'll be like, oh, that's okay. I understand what I need to do. So when you see a Greek word in a sentence, immediately you're going to think about what gender is it? What case is it? What number is it? What's the stem and what's the meaning? That's every time. That's what Greek is. You're going to be asking yourself, what gender is it? What case is it? What number is it? What's the meaning? That's what you're going to do over and over and over. And in the end, you're going to feel like you're drowning, but you're going to look back and see that you've been translating Greek. It's just been hard because it's something new twice a week. So what you have an example of here is apostolos in the singular and apostoloi, which is plural. So if you see this by itself in a sentence, apostolos would be apostle, and apostoloi would be apostles. Okay. I'm going to spend a little time here talking about declensions. I need you to understand that I took 2 years of Greek in college, and then I took a year of Greek in graduate school. And knowing whether something was the first, second, or third declension wasn't that important. The most important thing is knowing the vocabulary. And the second most important thing is knowing how to parse. And we're going to talk what it means to parse in just a minute, but knowing these cases. So it's more important that you know that you see the first word there, number one, for the first declension. First declension is primarily feminine, hora or our. You see that word and instantly you ask yourself, what gender is it? It's feminine. And then what case is it? And what number is it? But the first declension is primarily feminine, and some examples are hora and graphe. The second declension is primarily masculine. Some examples are apostolos and ergon. And then the third declension, we're going to cover more of that in chapter 10. But the word that's translated Israel from Greek is one of those third declension. And within each declension, there are different cases. All of this is in your book, chapter 6. So again, here are some examples of the three declensions. First, the second, and the third declension. All right. Let me stop right there for just a second. Even if you don't remember this, does this make sense? Remember, I can't see you guys, so you have to tell me if even if you don't understand it, does it follow logically?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So you have in nouns, you have four cases, five major cases. You use four most of the time. You have five major cases. And you have these in English too. We just don't think about it. Because in English, what you find is that the first noun in a sentence, not always, but typically the first noun in a sentence is the subject. Or at the very least, the subject is the noun that the verb is attached to. Jimmy threw the ball. Jimmy is a subject, threw is a verb, ball is a direct object. Jimmy threw the ball, right? So, word order doesn't matter as much for translation. Word order has another feature in Greek that's a little more poetic. But the two cases we're going to learn about first are the nominative case and the accusative case. I'm going to take this off of presentation mode because when it's in presentation mode, hold on, I stopped sharing. When it's in presentation mode, I can't see the bottom of the slide. So hold on just a minute. All right, you guys should be able to see that. So the nominative, I say nominative, but it's probably technically nominative. But nominative is the subject. So theos is a masculine singular noun. So it'd be masculine, singular, nominative. The accusative is the direct object. So cosmon would be world. So it would be masculine, singular, accusative. And the ending is what gives it away. So the stem of theos is theta, epsilon, omicron. The the sigma on the end announces that it's in the nominative. Now, as you already probably have figured out, you are learning your Greek nouns in the nominative case. So you have nominative, you have accusative. And again, uh, here are the examples theos and cosmon. So let's talk about word order in um, in Greek. So when you look at a Greek sentence, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to try to identify the subject. And you can see that in these three different sentences, it contains the same words, but the words are all in a different order. But if you look at the words, they all have in each sentence, the word theos appears the same way in each sentence. The word um, agapa, hon, cosmon, it's all the same. So we're not trying to translate these sentences, but just you need to know that when I give you sentences to translate, you're not going to start with the first word in the sentence. You're going to look for the nominative. You're going to look for the subject, and you're going to write the word theos. If you're doing, on a sheet of paper, you're going to write the word theos, and then you're going to write masculine singular nominative, God. And then you're going to look at agapa, and you're looking at ton cosmon, and you're going to know that ton is the definite article, and cosmon is, I mean, ton is a definite article, and you're gonna write the you're gonna write the case, the gender of the case, and the number every time. So it doesn't matter about the word order. What matters is that you can identify the parts of the sentence, the subject, the adjectives when we get to those, the verbs when we get to those, and all of that. So that's really the point of that. The point of that is not to translate that sentence, it's so that you can see that um, the subject of that sentence, God loves the world, is how you would translate that sentence. And that first sentence, God loves the world, is how you would do it in English. But if you see the third sentence, you see the world, he loves, and then God. And then you would put that together because you know the subject comes first in English. You're going to write God, he loves, but you're going to eliminate the he. God loves the world. And you'll do that over and over and over. And by the time you're done with this class, by the time we get done with this class, if I put this sentence on the final exam, it'll take you 5 seconds in your head to translate and translate in your head and then write it down. That's how easy this is going to get. And so Dr. Mounce kind of threw this in just for um, just for information. We refer to the word lexicon in theology. A lexicon is just a fancy term for dictionary. But what you're learning is you're learning the lexical form, and you'll need to learn the lexical form. And that's what you're learning, by the way. When you get vocabulary words that you are learning this semester, you are learning the lexical form. And so if it's a noun, you're learning the nominative singular. And so the reason you want to know the lexical form is because there's going to be some sentences that you have to, or some words that you have to parse. And I may put the word apostoloi on the test or the quiz, and I might say, parse these Greek terms. And you're going to say apostoloi. That is a masculine nominative plural, apostles from apostolos. Does that make sense? If I tell you that you have to tell me the lexical form, you understand what I mean by that? You're basically telling me the original form that you learned of that word. So the lexical form is what you are learning. So you're not learning in your vocabulary words, you're not learning apostoloi. You're learning apostolos, and you're learning that that means apostle. As you learn your case endings, you learn that when you put an iota on the end of apostolo instead of apostolos, you're going to recognize that omicron iota immediately as plural, but you're going to need to tell me the lexical form because these words are going to get more complicated over time. You're going to have suffixes and prefixes, and it especially gets complicated when we get to the verbs. Not as complicated for nouns. That's why we're starting with nouns. Here it is again, apostoloi. The lexical form is apostolos. So just to review, and I just blew through that because that is not the most important thing that you're going to learn tonight. It's just background information. But we talked about stems, right? The stem of the word. We talked about what a case ending is. We identified the first and the second declension, even though those terms aren't that important. In other words, I don't want you to waste brain power on learning what the first declension is, as much as I want you to put brain power into learning what the endings are for the different cases, if that makes sense. I want you to learn the vocabulary words and the cases, because if you learn the vocabulary words and the cases, you can translate sentences, which is what this is all about. If you want to teach Greek one day, then you need to learn what a first and second declension is and all this other stuff. Right now, I just need you to learn vocabulary words and case endings. We're going to talk about paradigms. Well, what a paradigm is if you have your textbook, I want you to go to, let me turn here. Actually, I got a better one for you. You guys have this handy? The laminated sheet. Okay. So on the laminated sheet on the first page where it says Biblical Greek by Bill Mounce, if you look on the right-hand column, it says case, ending, and rules. You guys see that? All of that is a paradigm. And we're going to learn how to read, we're going to learn how to use this paradigm to help you translate words. Okay, that's what we're doing right now. So keep this handy because the final form of what we do tonight is going to look like this, but it's not going to look like this as we go through it. We're building this. So just know, I don't want you to get confused, but after tonight is over, you should have a pretty good idea of what this is for and how to use it. Okay. So let's go through the first paradigm. So what we're going to learn is we're going to learn nominative and accusative. We're going to learn nominative singular, accusative singular, nominative plural, and accusative plural. If you pick up your sheet again, your laminated sheet, and look at the slide that I just put up, and you see that on the slide you see nominative. Let's just go with the word logos. Logos means word, right? So just pretend like the word logos is what we're using. When I learned this in college, I didn't learn that nominative singular was just a sigma. I learned that it was an omicron sigma. So either of those work until they don't, because there's some words that don't have a stem that ends with an omicron. So it's better to, but just know that if we were dealing with the word logos, then, which is a masculine word, the nominative singular is logos. The accusative singular is logon. The nominative plural is logoi, and the accusative plural is logus. So look at where it says second declension masculine and don't go across the page, go down. And what you have there is everything you need to know to translate a noun as either the subject of the sentence or the direct object of the sentence. So you might see apostolos, apostolon, apostoloi, or apostolus. And you, because you're going to memorize this paradigm, are going to know whether or not you're dealing with a nominative singular, nominative plural, accusative singular, or accusative plural. You may see logos, logon, logoi, or logus. You may see anthropos, anthropon, anthropoi, or anthropu. You see what you think? No matter the noun, right? If you see those endings, then you translate it according to the case. So nominative singular anthropos would be man, right? Accusative singular would be man, but as part of a direct object. Nominative plural anthropoi would be men. And accusative plural anthropous would be men, but as a direct object. Does that make sense? And we're going to look at it again in just a minute. So that's masculine. Now let's look at feminine. The feminine word is going to end with either an eta or an alpha. And in addition to that eta or that alpha, you're just going to add a nu for the accusative because it's going to, the natural way that the feminine is presented is in the nominative. The accusative, you're going to add a nu, just like in the masculine, you add a nu for the accusative. Just like in the nominative plural for the masculine, you're going to add an iota to the A. Do you see that? And you're going to add a sigma to the A. So if we were doing hora would be our. Horon would be our as the direct object. Horai would be ours. And horos would be ours as the direct object. Does that make sense? And then in neuter, you see you just add a new and then you add an a. So when you see a noun, you know it's nominative or accusative, which is to say, you know that it is the subject of the sentence, or if it is the direct object of the verb based on the ending. The only way to remember this is to write it out. Is to write it out just like this. Now, we're going to go through all of this, and at the end of this, then we're going to take a look at this. So we're going to look at chapter 6 and 7 tonight. But at the end of the lecture, we're going to look at this because this is the cheat sheet, if you will, that you're going to use, right, to keep you from having to go back in the book. So let's play this out with some actual words. So nominative singular, we did this earlier, is logos. That's the subject of the sentence. Logon would be the direct object. Logoi would be words as the subject. And logos would be words as the direct object. Similarly, graphe, writing, or hora, hour. Well, I think hora means hour. I'd hate to get that wrong. I feel stupid if I got it wrong. Did y'all learn that last week? That means hour, right? I feel dumb if I got that wrong. It's not like I'm out here doing, yeah, it means hour. It's not like I'm learning vocabulary with y'all. Okay, so graphe means writing or scripture. Hora means hour. So graphe or hora, you see it's got a rough breathing mark. See it above the omega? You got a rough breathing mark and you have an accent mark. So hora. So graphe or hora would be the subject singular. Writing or hour. Graphane, so you're adding a new, so you just added a new to the eta, and in hora you just added a new to the alpha. The nominative plural, the eta changes to an alpha, graphe and hore. So in the plural, and this is one of the rules, we're going to talk about the rules in just a minute. They got like 6 rules of nouns or something like that, and we're going to talk about 4 of them tonight. I think 4 or 5 of them tonight. But see a feminine word in the nominative plural changes from an eta to an alpha. But you still recognize the word because of the gamma, rho, alpha, and phi, right? So that's still a recognizable word. So graphe and hore would be writings and hours. And then graphos and horos, so you just added a sigma, would be hours or writings as the direct object, right? You can see the same thing for the third declension there, ergon. So here's something that you'll need to remember. So you can see here in the third declension that ergon in the nominative singular and the accusative singular have the same form because they end with a consonant, right? What you will do is you will translate the word based on context, and it won't be hidden from you. You'll be able to identify it. But if I give you the word ergon and I say parse ergon, you don't know the context because I'm just giving you the word. So you would just say masculine singular, nominative or accusative from ergon. So you would give me both the nominative and the accusative. Same thing in the plural. Nominative and accusative plural are both the same. So you would do the same thing. You would just say erga. You would say masculine nominative plural erga, right? You give me both nominative and accusative. I'm sorry, I got distracted, but it means work. Ergon means work. All right, how you doing? Give me some feedback. Is this making sense, or do you have a question about one of these? Even if you don't understand it, in terms of obviously you don't know it yet, you're just learning it. But what you're going to have to do is you're just going to have to write these out until you get them. Just over and over and over, write them out. What you have to do. Put them on flashcards, and this is where the fun starts with Greek. Because now every lesson you're going to be memorizing vocabulary words and you're going to be memorizing case endings. So here's what I said earlier about parsing. I may give you a word. So take a look at your sheet here, right? You've got logos, right? So based on this sheet, remember lambda omicron, gamma omicron is the stem. Right, that's the stem. So the letters that are added to this that tell you the case are the upsilon and the sigma. So I want you guys to tell me, what case is this?
Accusative.
Okay, very good. So it's accusative. Is it singular or plural?
It's singular.
Is it?
It's got the sigma on the end.
But it's so it has an upsilon and a sigma, because remember the stem is lambda omicron gamma omicron. The ending that's added is the upsilon sigma. So which one of those, nominative or accusative, has an upsilon and a sigma as the ending?
Uh,
So which one is it? Is it plural or singular?
um, I don't know if I see it yet.
Nope. So if you look at the sheet, right? You
Yeah.
see masculine, see MASC,
Yeah.
and you see to the left nominative singular, genitive singular, dative singular, accusative singular. Then you have nominative plural, genitive plural, dative plural, and accusative plural. Do you see that?
I don't think I'm looking in the right. Isn't it up here?
So we're on. It's to the right of the alphabet.
Right.
Hmm. So I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but you can see it on here?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you see, just follow masculine
In the first column.
on the right, follow it all the
Oh,
way
okay.
down. Do you see where it
Okay.
says upsilon sigma? See where that is?
Yes. So it's plural. So it's what is ACC? Plural.
Accusative. Right,
Accusative plural.
accusative plural.
Okay.
So the case is accusative. The number is plural. What gender is it?
Masculine.
Masculine.
Masculine. What is the lexical form of logos? It would be the nominative. It would be how you learned it.
Logos.
Logos. So what would be the inflected meaning? Well, you don't have a sentence, so all you can say is words because it's plural, right? This is the first time you've done this, so it's going to be bumpy, right? But whenever I tell you to parse a word, I'm looking for case, number, gender, lexical form, and inflected meaning. So because it's not in a sentence, you're going to put just words if it's plural. If it's genitive or dative, which we're going to see in just a minute, you would translate it differently. All right, so let's do a different take on logos. Logoi. See if I can type. I'll just type it. I don't know if I can. Whoops. Nope, it's not going to let me. Let me see. Oh, just a minute. There it is. All right. Okay. What case is that? Remember?
Nominative.
Nominative, plural,
Very good. So nominative plural. What's the gender?
masculine,
What's the lexical form? Remember, the lexical form is always the form that you memorize the word in, and it's always the nominative singular. So what is the nominative singular of logoi?
logois, like
Logos,
logos,
right? So look at your chart. Remember, the stem of the word is logo, essentially, right? If you add an S to it, it's nominative singular. If you add an upsilon to it, it's genitive singular, which we haven't learned yet. If you add a nu to it, it's accusative singular. If you add an iota to the stem, which is logo, lambda, omicron, gamma, omicron. If you add an iota to that, then it's masculine. I mean, it's nominative plural. And if it's an upsilon sigma added to that, then it's accusative plural. So the stem is going to be lambda, omicron, gamma, omicron, and then whatever endings appear after that are going to tell you whether it's nominative, accusative, genitive, or dative. Let's do one more. Oh, shoot, I don't remember. I can't remember how to do the. Hold on. I think I had a keyboard cheat, maybe. Well, let's do. I don't remember how to make the sigma of the ending. So let me do. Well, just pretend like this is a sigma. Wait a minute. Let's try this. No. Does anybody remember how to make the sigma?
yep,
I think. Oh, that ain't it. Anyway, just pretend like this is a sigma that's the right form to end the word in. So if you see the correct sigma there, according to this chart, what have I just made?
A nominative singular masculine.
That's exactly right. Nominative singular, masculine. From logos, because that's a lexical form. The lexical form just happens to be the word I've asked you to parse, right? And the inflected meaning is word. All right. Trust me, you'll get this. So there's some rules that you're just going to have to remember. That if a stem ends in an alpha or an eta. So stems that end in the alpha or the eta are in the first declension. If they end in an omicron, they're in the second. And if they end in a consonant, they're in the third. That's not going to have a nickel's worth of bearing on your translation. Here's one that will, and we covered it a few minutes ago. Neuter words are the same in the nominative and the accusative. This is what I was saying earlier. So if you see the word ergon, it could be either nominative or accusative. So if I give you the word ergon and I say parse the word ergon, then you're going to say it's nominative neuter singular work from ergon. But you may say you'll say nominative and accusative because you don't know and you don't have a sentence, so you can't translate it. So you don't know if it's nominative or accusative. So you got to tell me that it's both. Does that make sense? You guys lost? All right. Good. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to be lost right now. And then the same thing. So this rule about nominative and accusative for neuter also applies to words that end in an alpha. All right. So let's look at the paradigm again. We have nominative singular in the masculine, the feminine, and the neuter. Logos is masculine. Raphe and hora are feminine. They're two feminine words. And there's two of them because we want to show you that some feminine words end in an eta and some feminine words end in an alpha. But the rule is, if you think about it, they're both ending in that A sound, right? Eta or alpha, it's like a long or short A, essentially, if you think about it from an English grammar perspective. So logos, graphe, hora, and then the neuter would be ergon. The singular would be logon, graphane. You're adding on the feminine, you're just adding a new horon or ergon. And again, ergon is both the nominative and the accusative. If I tell you to parse a word and you see ergon, then you need to tell me that it is a neuter nominative singular work. You need to tell me you need to tell me that it's neuter nominative singular or accusative work from ergon. You have the plural down below. Logoi, graphe, hore. You can see it's a little easier with masculine and feminine because all you're doing is just adding an iota to the stem. Same thing with lagus, graphos, horos, and you can see the neuter stays the same, erga. So what you need to do is you need to memorize, and we're going to go through all of these tonight. You're going to need to sit down and memorize these. And what I'll recommend that you do is you use this as a guide. So what I want you to do to practice this is I want you, when you're learning the masculine declension, the masculine paradigm, just pick a few masculine words and rewrite those words over and over and over with the correct endings and the translations so that you can get it. And do the same thing with a couple of different feminine words. You can even use these, graphe and hora, and a neuter word, ergon, or you can use pneuma. right? Which is spirit, because that's one you're probably going to see more, right? And just practice doing it so that when you see it, you make a connection with it. But make sure that when you're practicing, you're also practicing the translation. Make sure that you're practicing that when you write the word logos, you don't want to just remember that logos means word. When you see the word logos, what you need to try to train yourself to do through repetition is when you see the word, you immediately start going through the parsing so that you don't just see the word. You see that it is a masculine nominative singular word from logos. Same thing with logoi. You see it and you know immediately that it's words, but you're not just translating it. You're wanting to make sure that you train yourself to say, okay, because it has an iota at the end of it, it is a masculine plural nominative words from logos. So this only comes through writing it out, either on writing it out on flashcards, or if you ordered flashcards. I don't know if the flashcards that come with this whole kit have all of this or not, but if not, it's probably better that you write it anyway, because you want to employ all the senses. You want to see it, say it, and write it. So get a legal pad, get a bunch of notebook paper, and write for 15, 20 minutes, and then get up, go walk the dog, eat supper, play with grandkids, and then sit down for 15 minutes and write some more. This is going to be 8-week boot camp where you're eating, sleeping, minimally interacting with your family, and learning Greek. It's the only way through it. Any questions about this? Because we are moving on from this. Okay. So the definite article is simply the word the. So we have definite articles and indefinite articles in, see what time it is. Okay, we're good. Do one of y'all send me a message? Somebody sent me a message. I'm just happy that I'm recording this, so when this goes on YouTube, people see that I'm checking my phone in the middle of a lecture. You don't get that at a lot of colleges, but you get it here, right? Because we care here about text messages. All right. So in English, you have a definite and an indefinite article. You have the, and you have a or an. The apple, an apple, the box, a box, right? The is the definite article. There is no indefinite article in Greek. There's just a definite article. And definite articles are your friend. The reason definite articles are your friend is because definite articles take the shape of the word that they are attached to. So if you look in your textbook on page 44, if you have that with you, you see one of those paradigm charts. The definite article paradigm chart is also right below the alphabet on your laminated card. Right below the alphabet. So you're going to have to memorize these definite articles according to their case. And you're going to use this laminated sheet to help you do that. The some of the so a definite article either has a rough breathing mark. Can someone tell me what sound you get when you have a rough breathing mark? Someone be bold and courageous and tell me what sound you get with a rough breathing. That's right, the
Uh,
H sound.
H.
Right. And so the definite article is either going to have a rough breathing mark or it's going to begin with a towel. So if you see the word ho logos, ho would be that definite article, right? It's the rough breathing mark plus the omicron or ha. Most people say ho just because it sounds better, like it flows better, but it's ha really. But ha logos would be the word. Hey, there's no H, so it's a breathing mark. Hey, graphe would be the writing. Ta ergon would be the work. So when you learn these definite articles and you start to translate sentences, these definite articles are going to really help you to identify words. You're going to be surprised at the extent that you're going to be happy to see a definite article because you're going to know the word that goes with it and it's going to help you understand the case. So if you put in the work to recognize the definite articles, then you're going to be able to easily identify the words that go with it. Does that make sense? All of these words that you're seeing, all 12 of these, are the word the in the nominative singular, the accusative singular, the nominative plural, and the accusative plural case. So let's do some translation. So if we saw the sentence ho theos, soze, sukos, somebody tell me, even if you don't know those words, tell me which one of those words is the subject and tell me why. In the sentence ho theos, soze, sukos, which word is the subject and why?
Ose would be the subject.
Let me ask it a different way. Which word is in the nominative case that you've already learned? If you don't know, look at your chart. Find the ending for the nominative case and tell me which of those Greek words is in the nominative case.
Is it theos?
Theos.
Yeah.
It also has a definite article.
Right. Right.
So when it comes to proper nouns, like somebody's name or the name of a city or God in Greek, proper names and the word God are going to have a definite article in front of it. In every instance but those, you're going to translate it the whatever. But when it comes to the word God and proper nouns, you're not going to translate the article. You're just going to say God. If you see the word, if you see a definite article before Galilee, you're not going to translate it the Galilee. It's just a device within Greek to identify proper nouns. Does that make sense? But if you're translating that in your head, you would say, you might say, the God, he saves souls or a life or life. God saves a life. That's what you would say. Or God saves lives. So that's plural. So the definite article is just the. Um, this post positive, um, so if you look on page 46 in your textbook, at 6.30, you see post positive. It's a word that cannot be the first word in a Greek sentence, even though it will usually be the first word in your translation. The word day means but or and. So your sentence might begin with ho day. But because you know the word day is a conjunction, it's not the first word in your sentence. That's just one of those rules you're going to have to learn. If I give you sentences to translate, I'm probably not going to put a conjunction at the beginning because I think it's just asking to trip you up. I don't want to trip you up. I want you to learn Greek. Right? There's going to be some hard things you have to translate, but that's just one of those rules that is probably present in the workbook exercises, right? So if you see the word but or and at the beginning of the sentence, just know that it's not the first word in the sentence. You're going to look for the nominative case and find the subject, and that's going to be the first word in your sentence. Okay. All right. We talked about cases, case, number, and gender, taught stems. The nominative case is the subject, and the direct object is the accusative. And here's that paradigm. And here's the paradigm for the definite article. We've already looked at it. We looked at 3 noun rules, Greek word order. Your job now is to write out those cases until you can recognize them in a sentence. It's going to help you when you translate your sentences in your workbook. So when you're translating your sentences in your workbook, right, you want this laminated sheet out beside you and just take it one word at a time, right? Just try to train yourself to look for the nominative case first. And the nominative case is going to end with either a sigma and be singular, or it's going to end with an iota and be plural, right? It's going to be a noun that ends with either a sigma or an iota, and it might have a definite article in front of it, right? So you want to identify that. Then you want to identify the verb, which we're not doing verbs yet, but you want to identify the direct objects, and you want the accusative. And you know, if you see a word that ends with a nu, that's a noun that ends with a nu or ends with an upsilon sigma, then it's going to either be singular or plural, object of the verb, direct object. And the only way to do that is just to practice it. Okay, let's go over your vocabulary words for chapter 6. Then we'll take a 5-minute break. You guys can go punch the wall and then come back and we'll go through genitive and dative. Okay. Somebody pronounce this word for me.
Agape.
Agape. So that's how we pronounce that word typically, agape. You could say agape if you wanted to, but most of us probably recognize agape, which means what?
Love.
Think about Princess Bride and the preacher getting ready to marry Buttercup and whoever the other guy was. Love, woo of. Agape means love. And the vocabulary starts on page 48. So the first word in the vocabulary is agape, which means love. Somebody pronounce that second word, this next word here. What is that?
Alos,
So it's not an omega, it's an omicron, so it's a short O.
alas,
A loss. Very good. And what does it mean? Page 49 at the top.
other,
other, or another. And remember, guys, the thing that you want to do is you want to try to remember when there's a word that has a couple of definitions, right? You want to know that because you want to know Greek. But don't be afraid to focus in on one of those meanings. Because if I ask you to translate a sentence, I'm not going to want you to include, like if I include the word allos in a sentence and ask you to translate it, I don't want you to give me other and another. I want you to just pick one, whichever fits the context, right? So if it's easier for you, just remember one or remember the one you think you would use the most, right? All right. Next one. Somebody besides Judy. What's this word?
Altos, altos,
Altos. What does it
altos,
mean?
altos. He, altos, well, they.
It can mean, so altos, um, depending on the form that it takes, it's going to take the same form as a lot of your nouns. And it's going to be it's going to either be singular, it's going to be either masculine, feminine, or neuter. And it's going to be either singular or plural. So it's either going to be he, she, or it, or him, her, or it. Or it's plural, it's going to be them or they. So depend on the context and depend on the ending, right? We're going to get to that. But just know that altos by itself is going to be, it'd be he, she, or it, because it's the singular. If it was alte, then it would be feminine, and it would be, she or her, depending on if it's singular or they. Plural would always be they. Here's another one. Somebody take this one for me. What's this word?
Basileia,
Basileia. Very good. What does it mean?
kingdom.
Very good. We just did this one right here. What is it?
E,
Day.
day,
Yeah. Or de, probably. De is closer. But the reason you see in parentheses a D with like a smooth breathing mark is because in some instances, depending on what word follows it, it may drop the epsilon. So if you just see a delta by itself like that, then it's going to be the same word. So sometimes it drops that epsilon. The rule here that Mounce gives us is that it drops the epsilon when it's followed by a word beginning with a vowel, kind of like an apple, right? So you don't want two vowels together, two vowel sounds together, right? A apple doesn't sound as smooth as an apple, right?
mhm,
De apostolos doesn't sound as good as de apostolos, right? So it's that same rule that applies in English, but that means but or and. All right, this one's easy because it means what it sounds like. So what is this one?
In,
And it means in or among or on. We were messing around with this one. What is this one?
ergon,
Ergon. What does it mean?
work.
Work, deed, or action. All right, that is kairos. What does kairos mean?
time,
So it would mean appointed time or season. So it means time, but the type of time it's talking about is an appointed time, all right, or season. What's this word?
and when,
Noon.
noon,
Yeah, noon. What does noon mean?
now,
Or if it's a noun, what does it mean?
the present,
So depending on whether it's being used as an adverb, which we're going to get to this, you don't have to worry about it right this second, but whether it's used as an adverb or a noun will change the meaning somewhat. But it's not really changed that much, right? Because now and the present are the same time, right? But you would just translate it differently depending on whether it's a noun or whether it's an adverb. All right, here are the here are the definite articles. So all of these mean the. You got a rough breathing mark here, which makes the H sound. So what is this word? It's what my wife refers to me as.
Hottie.
That's exactly right, Cody.
You were
It's a
brave.
burden that I bear. Hati means, what does it mean?
That. Since or because.
Very good. Couple more and we'll take a break. So you're going to see this word in a few different forms, and it negates the word. It means not, but what it does is it negates the next word in the sentence. So if you were to see this word, which means now, right? And you were to see one of these forms in front of it, not now. So you're negating whatever follows it. So it means not. So it's a negation. And then I've been saying this one over and over. It's got a rough breathing mark. What's that word?
Hurrah.
Hora means what?
Hour, occasion, or moment.
All right. So if you memorize all of these vocabulary words along with the vocabulary words you've learned up to this point, then you will have learned 37% of the words that regularly occur in the New Testament. Puts it into perspective, doesn't it? All right. So by the super magical timepiece here, I've got 9:10. I'm just going to leave the recording running and I'll see y'all in 5 minutes, 9:15. All right. So let's go ahead and dive back in. So we've learned the nominative and the accusative. Those are two of the five cases for nouns. And the other two we're going to learn tonight are the genitive case and the dative case. So the way that you're going to remember um, how to translate the genitive case and the dative case, I'm going to tell you the easy part up front is that genitive is the case for possession. So when you translate a genitive case in Greek, you're going to use the word of. So just for instance, I'm going to show you this, and we're going to come back to this. But this is theou. So this is the genitive case for God. So you're going to translate this either of God or God apostrophe S to denote possession. So genitive denotes possession. Book of Bill or Bill's book. The indirect object, you're going to translate for the most part by adding the word to in front of it. So if you're reading through Matthew and it says Jesus spoke to the crowd, to the crowd is one word that appears in the dative case. And it's pronounced to the crowd because it has actually three words because it has a definite article. So the genitive and the dative case reflect the possessive and the indirect object. Now, if you don't remember indirect objects from high school, if we say that Karen threw Brad a ball, in English, Karen is the subject, threw is the verb, ball is the direct object because it's what was thrown, right? It's the direct object of the verb. But then in this sentence, Brad would be the indirect object because he is related to the action of the verb, but he's not the direct object. So if you wanted to simplify this sentence, you could say Karen threw a ball to Brad. That's the same as Karen threw Brad a ball. So to Brad fits, right? So you're going to translate the dative as to whatever, right? So let's go through it. You see here that one of the genitive case endings is the upsilon, because remember, the stem of that noun is not theta, epsilon, omicron, sigma, remember? Because that's the nominative. Stem ends at the omicron. So adding the upsilon is what makes it genitive. The genitive tends to follow the lead noun. So if you just saw two words in a sentence, well, let's just say you saw two words in a sentence. You saw logos theou. Logos would be in the nominative case, so it would be the subject. How would you translate the word logos? What does logos mean?
Word.
Word. If you saw logos theo in a sentence. And I said, translate this sentence. Logos is translated word. Theos is translated of God or gods with an apostrophe S. So you would translate the sentence word of God or God's word. See how that works? So the genitive is going to typically follow the noun that owns that thing or that is related to the possession. So it's going to be close to the noun that the lead noun that it follows. In the dative, you're going to typically translate it with either to, in, or with. Because it's an indirect object. It is related to the action of the verb, but it's not the direct object. Here is the singular dative case of theos. Be theo with the subscript. So here is the complete paradigm for masculine, feminine, and neuter, nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative. So starting with logos. Logos is masculine, nominative, singular, means word, and the lexical form is logos. Logou is masculine, nominative, genitive, masculine, genitive, singular, of word, and the lexical form is logos. Logo is masculine, dative, singular, to word from logos. Logon would be masculine, accusative, singular, words, or plural. Plural. Sorry. No, singular. I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up on my own words. Singular, masculine, accusative, plural, or singular. I'm sorry. Word from logos, because this is a singular paradigm. So someone parse graphe for me. Remember, this column is masculine, this column is feminine, this column is feminine, and this column is neuter. So someone parse graphe for me. Give me the gender first.
Feminine.
Feminine. Okay. Give me the
Nominative. Singular.
the case.
Nominative.
Nominative. All right. Give me the number.
Singular.
What does it mean?
Writing.
Writing. And what is the lexical form?
Graph. Graphos.
Graphe.
Okay.
Remember, the lexical form is going to be the nominative.
Yep.
All right. So, what about graphes? Somebody tell me the gender of graphes.
Is it feminine,
Feminine,
That's right. It is feminine. Tell me the case. We just learned it.
genitive, singular?
Genitive singular. How would you translate it?
We still
So it's
Graphos?
possession.
Oh, right. Graphos.
So graphes is feminine, genitive, singular. And what is the translation of graphes in
Right,
the
right.
genitive?
Oh,
Hmm?
right. Rights.
Of writing.
Of writing.
Because genitive is the possession.
Okay,
So just put the word of in front of it.
okay.
Right? So let's go through that again. Graphes would be, what is the gender?
Feminine.
What is the case?
Genitive singular.
So case is genitive. What is the number? You said it,
Singular.
singular,
Singular. Right.
right? How would you translate it?
Of writing.
Of writing.
Of
And what
writing.
is the lexical form?
Graphe.
Graphe, right? Does anyone not understand what we just did there?
No, I see it.
Okay. Anyone not understand what we just did here? All right, let's go through the next one. Graphe. What is the gender?
Feminine,
What is the case? It's the new
dominant.
one we just learned.
Yeah, the dominant single.
Nope. It's the
Oh,
so look at your look
oh,
at your laminated sheet.
yep, I'm looking.
And
So
if you
it's
look at feminine and the um you see the eta,
it's dative, singular.
dative singular.
Yeah.
So it is feminine, dative,
Mm-hmm.
singular. Translate it for me. You would put a two in front of it typically. And it's singular, so it would be
To write.
to writing.
Okay.
To
You wouldn't
writing.
say it that way. It's probably not that in a sentence. It would not be that because that doesn't make any sense. But in the dative, you're gonna typically translate it to, in, or with. So you can say to writing, in writing, with writing, right?
Okay.
All right. So the last one there is graphane. What is the gender?
Feminine.
Feminine.
Feminine. What is the case? Accusative,
Accusative.
Accusative, singular.
right? Accusative, and the number is singular. Translate it. Accusative is translated the same way as nominative. It's just not the subject. It's something else. So if it is feminine, accusative, singular, how would you translate it?
Graphes, with an S.
So you would translation is what does it mean in English? That's what translate means.
Oh,
So translate it into English.
right.
Writing,
Writing. Right. Okay. Writing.
but it's the direct object. It's not the subject. So the nominative and the accusative are going to be translated into English the same way. They just have different functions in the sentence. All right, let's go through hora. What gender is hora?
Feminine.
Feminine. What is the case?
Nominative.
What is the number?
Singular.
Translate the word.
Hour.
Hour. And what is the lexical form?
Aura.
Hora. Very good. Everybody see what Hunter did there? Right? That just whatever Hunter just did, right? That's the way it's done. And you'll get faster at this. So let's do the next one. Horos, what is the gender? That entire column is feminine. So what is the gender?
Feminine.
Feminine.
What is the case?
Genitive.
Genitive.
Genitive. What is the number?
Singular.
Single.
Translate it for me.
Of the hour.
So very good. So it will be of our, not of the hour, because there's no definite article present.
Right.
Don't add a definite article unless there's one present. So if I give you this word on a vocabulary test, horos, you would not translate it of the hour. You would just say of our. Okay. Don't
Okay.
don't I'll have to count it wrong. So don't add a definite article unless one is present. But that's good. All right. So hora with the subscript. See how hora in the nominative and the hora with the subscript look differently? The subscript is what you're looking for right there. So hora, what gender is that?
Feminine.
What case is it?
Dative.
What number is it?
Singular.
Translated into English.
Hour.
To, in, or with hour. To,
Hour.
in, or with hour. And what's the lexical form?
Hour.
Hora. Hour is the translation.
Oh,
The
hora.
lexical form is hora without the subscript.
Right. Okay.
All right. You'll get it. You already know more than you did when you started this class tonight, so you're learning. So horon, what is the gender?
Feminine.
Feminine. What is the case?
Accusative.
What is the number?
Singular.
Translate it for me.
Hour.
And what is the lexical form?
Hora. Hora.
Very good. Very good. All right. Ergon. What is the gender? So you guys just stay off of mute. That way you can just say it because I want to make sure that we're not taking extra time for you guys to come off mute. So just stay off of mute if you can. That way you can just say it. So ergon, what is the gender?
Neutral.
Neuter.
Yeah. It could be. Can it be any of it or not?
Nope, it's neuter only.
Neuter only. Okay.
Yep. So everything in that column is neuter. Ergon, ergu, ergo, ergon. All neuter. Right? That's the way these paradigms are written. So ergon, what gender is it?
Neuter.
What case is it?
Nominative.
What number is it?
Singular.
What does it mean?
Work.
And what is the lexical form?
Ergon.
All right, let's go to the last one. Ergon. What is the gender?
Neuter.
What is the case?
Accusative.
Very good. All right, now go to the second one here. Ergu. What is the gender?
Neuter.
Neuter. What is the case?
Genitive.
Genitive.
Single.
What is the number?
Singular.
What does it mean?
Of work.
Of work. You put of in front of it for genitive. All right. What about ergo with the subscript? The omega and the subscript. Ergo. What is the gender?
Neuter.
Okay. What is the case?
Dative.
Dative.
What is the number?
Singular.
Singular.
Translate it for me.
To work.
That's right. To work, in work, or with work, depending on the context. And what is the lexical form?
Ergon.
All right. We're going to do the same thing with a plural. We're not going to do them all. All right. So Cody, logoi. What is the gender of not logoi? What is the gender of logoi?
Masculine.
Cody only. Cody, what's the gender of logoi?
Masculine.
Masculine. What's the case?
Nominative.
Very good. What's the number? Look at the top of the slide. Number is always either plural or singular.
Oh, sorry, singular.
Nope, it's plural.
Oh, plural, yeah.
Yep. So you go to the slide before it, see logos.
Mm.
That's nominative singular. Logoi is masculine, nominative, plural. So translate it for me.
Rights
Words.
or words.
Logos
Sorry.
means word. So logoi would be words. What would the lexical form of logoi be? It's going to be the singular nominative is going to be the lexical form. So what is that? I've got it pulled up on the screen here.
Laga.
Logos. All right. Gene. Graphone. Right here. What is the gender of graphone?
Which one are you looking at? The second column?
Yep, the second column. I don't know if you can see my cursor or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't. I guess I don't see the. I don't see that little mark over there. Is it It's
See the one I
feminine.
highlighted right there?
Right. Yeah. No, I see that, but I don't see the. But I can't remember what that little thing is over it.
You don't worry about that. Like you just
Okay.
like yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay. So,
graphone, what is the gender?
uh, genitive.
The gender would be
Oh,
masculine,
it's
feminine, or
feminine.
neuter.
Feminine. Sorry,
Feminine? Okay.
feminine.
So that's okay. We're test driving this. We're learning to drive stick shift tonight. We're good. We're gonna be experts at a stick shift before this is over with, but we're just learning to drive it now. You got to figure the clutch and the gears out, right?
Right.
So let's start over. Graphone is what's the gender?
Feminine.
What's the case?
Genitive.
Genitive. Very good. What's the number?
Plural.
Plural. How would you translate that? The word it's from the word writing. So
Right.
you're looking at the plural form, the plural genitive form of writing. What would it be?
Rights. Or
It's the genitive,
writing.
so it's possession.
To write.
So possession would be of.
Of right. Yeah. Okay. That's of right.
So it would be of writings
Of
because
right.
it's
Plural.
genitive and it's plural,
Okay.
right? Plural is more than one, so you'd always add an S to it. So graphone right here would be feminine, genitive, plural. You would translate it of writings. And what would be the lexical form? I'll go back to this slide. What's the lexical form?
Graphe.
Graphe. Very good.
How did we get the feminine on that one? I don't see that.
What do you mean?
Like where, like it's all across there. It's neutral, feminine, and masculine.
So you need to look down. So this first column is the masculine. This second column is feminine. Let's go back to the singular. So you've got masculine here. You've got feminine that ends with an eta, feminine that ends with an alpha, and then you've got neuter that ends with a consonant. So you've got one column of masculine, two columns of feminine, and one column of neuter. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's just not written above it. If you go back if we went back to our chapter 6 slides, you would see it on those slides.
Okay.
These aren't my slides. These are Dr. Mounce's slides. And so he didn't include that, and I just didn't put it.
Okay.
So since we got you on the phone, I want you to translate. So we're going to do Logos right here. So what is the gender of Logos?
Feminine.
No, Logos is masculine. Do you know why it's masculine?
No.
Okay. So if you go back to the singular, right? The vocabulary word that you are learning is logos, which means word. Logos is a masculine noun. And every form of logos is going to be masculine as well. So this means word. Logo means of word. Logo means to, in, or with word. And logon means word, right? So when you go to the plural, it's just words, of words, to, in, or with words, or words. It doesn't change gender.
Okay.
It only changes the way you translate it and a little bit of the meaning, but not really the basic meaning because you're using the word word in there. So everything in this column would be masculine. And
Okay.
so let's do this one. Let's do this next, the one right above it. Logon. So what gender is logon?
Masculine.
Masculine. What case is it?
General plural.
Genitive.
Genitive plural.
So the case is genitive.
Genitive
What's the number?
plural.
Plural, right? How would you translate logon? It's a genitive. Genitive is possession. So how would you pronounce this plural form of logos that's in the genitive?
Of
What?
logos.
In the
So
English.
of word.
Of words, because it's plural, right? So it would be of word. Of word would be singular. Of words would be plural. So that is a masculine genitive plural of words. And what is the lexical form? Lexical form is the form that you're learning the vocabulary word in. What's the lexical form of that?
Logos.
That's right. Very good. The definite articles. Here's a definite article, singular and plural paradigm. This is every case you would find the definite article in. So if you saw the word ho logos, that's the word. To logu, of the word, genitive, right? To logo would be to, in, or with word. These are all of the different forms of the definite article. And it's also listed on your laminated sheet right below the alphabet. So you can see if you look at that laminated sheet, the nominative singular definite article, the masculine is ho, the feminine is hey, because you see you got a breathing mark there, and the neuter is toe or ta, because it's a short O. Most people say toe, just because it kind of looks like the English two. The masculine nominative plural definite article, which is the. All of these are translated the. Is hoi. The feminine is hai, and the neuter is ta. Once you learn, so it's actually easier to learn the definite article first. Because if you learn the definite article first, you're not dealing with different words that mean different things. Because all these mean the. You just have to remember that tau, omicron, upsilon, you see it here. Tau, omicron, upsilon, you just have to remember that that is the masculine singular genitive. The only way to learn it is to write the article with the word as you're writing the words out. All right. A couple of other rules. It's going to help you. If you see this iota subscript, that's a dead giveaway in a lot of cases that that is a dative singular. Because if you look back here across the dative, see whether it's masculine, feminine, or neuter, if you spot that little subscript, it's a little bit of a giveaway that's a dative, right? Just a little rule that might help you. This is a rule that has to do with pronunciation, but this is just letting you know that vowels can change their length, like it's a long O or whatever. Like that's just really for translation. That's really for pronunciation more than it is translation. And then this fifth rule, that in the genitive and the dative, the masculine and the neuter are the same. So when you're memorizing the genitive and the dative, you're not having to memorize extra because the masculine and the neuter are always the same.
Okay.
So this is showing you the use of the of a proper noun, just to let you know that this word is translated Jesus, of Jesus, to Jesus, and Jesus. But you see you have an article in front of it. You're not going to say the Jesus because it's a proper noun. I'm not going to go through this because it follows the same pattern that we've been working on. These are the personal pronouns. He, she, it, that would be the nominative. Of his, of her, of its would be the genitive. To him, to her, to it would be the dative. Him, her, it would be the accusative. The plural, it's all they, right? They, their. There's no of in the plural. It's not of there. It's just there. Their in English is possessive. So when it comes to personal pronouns, they're going to have the same endings as the other nouns. The lexical form is going to be always the nominative singular. It's going to be autos. And all of your plural are either going to be they, their, to them, or them. And again, you're just going to have to do the work to memorize these. All right. So I'm not asking if you remember all of it. I'm just asking, does all of that make sense to you?
It's coming.
Yeah, you just have to practice. You just have to practice. So I would recommend, don't wait too long after the lecture. I mean, obviously not tonight because, you can't work on this 24 hours a day. But as soon as you can after the lecture, work on the workbook assignments.
Mhm.
That way it's a little more fresh. All right, let's go through the other part of the vocabulary for this week. I don't remember what page it's on. Let's see. I think it starts on page 61. So the vocabulary for chapter 7 starts on page 61. So let's go through this. Notice there's a rough breathing mark, which gives you the H sound. Someone tell me that word and then tell me what it means.
Hamartia.
Perfect. What does it mean?
Sin.
Sin. All right. Next, somebody.
Arche,
RK. What does it mean?
beginning.
Beginning. Very good. It's the kind of fish you can catch down here in Florida. What's that word?
Gar.
Gar. Yeah, you throw it right back. We don't eat gar. What does gar mean?
For or then.
Let's try it. All right. Give me that one.
Pi and
The EI is a diphthong, makes the I sound.
Pian,
IPEN.
Ipan.
IPEN. You're not going to see that a lot. You need to know it, but you're not going to see it a ton. What does it mean?
He, she, it, said.
Said. That's right. He, she, or it said. Right? Ace. What does ace mean?
Into or in.
Into or in. This is a big one. Somebody take a shot at that one. I'm going to help you.
X.
You will hear people either say exousia or exousia. Some people say the S. They'll hint at a little S on that X sound. So exousia or exousia, right? It means authority or power. Here's one most of you probably know. What is this one? So the EU makes the oo sound, or you,
Mhm.
like you, right? What is
Mhm.
the double gamma sound? What is it?
Mhm.
When you see a double gamma, what sound does it make?
N,
And
NG,
N, G, N,
right?
Evangelii.
Evangelion.
no, go.
Evangelion. What does it mean?
Good news.
Gospel, right?
Gospel.
Good news or gospel, right? That's where we get the word gospel from. Evangelion. Just means good word. So what is this one?
Jesus.
Jesus. Translate Jesus for me.
Jesus or Joshua.
That's right. That just hits you between the theological eyes, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is this one?
Theurus.
So curios. So the row there, eos, curios. What does it mean?
Lord,
Very good.
Lord, Master.
So you might see this word and this word together, right? You might see curios and Jesus together. You might see Lord Jesus, right? You might even see Christos after it, Lord Jesus Christ, right? All right. What about this one? I think this one's going to trip you up because it looks like something it's not. I mean,
May.
if you know May, you
May.
got it on the first try. Very good. What does it mean?
Not or least.
That's right. All right. What's that one?
Uranus.
That's right. Yeah. Or Uranos. That's right. Very good. What does it mean?
Heaven or sky.
Yep. Now, we don't always go through his commentary on these words, but this one is something that you'll need to try to remember, is that you will often find it in the plural. It's just related to the way the Jews would say the heavens, right? You would still pronounce it heavens or skies, but you often find it in the plural. Right? This is altos, alte, and tauto or tauta. Singular this, plural these, so this or these. Somebody take a stab at that one. Johnny Cash had a song about a boy named
Sue,
Sue. Boy named Sue. What does Sue mean?
you,
Right? What about this one? The upsilon and the o together make a we sound, like we.
Weas.
Weos. What does that mean?
Son or descendant.
Son or descendant. Last one. There's a rough breathing mark. And that's a
Host.
long O because it's an omega.
Host.
Hoste. You say that epsilon at the end. Hoste. What does that mean?
Therefore or so that.
Very good. All right. That is chapter 6, and chapter 7 in our textbook. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop recording.